Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some SCP readings. A little bit different this time. This time I'm in character as a doctor for the Foundation, not like a medical doctor, more like a scientist kind of doctor. You get the idea. But thanks for tuning in today. So sit back, relax, get popcorn, whatever. Because, here we go. Hello everybody. I'm sure y'all have some questions. Yes. This is the Foundation. Those men who were recruiting you, those were not with the U.S. government. Yes, anomalies are real, if any of you may have been wondering. And yes, we're here to contain them. Yes, you in the back, what is it? How do you know about 682? Of course it was Bright. Anybody who's seen anything about Dr. Bright on 4chan? Please tell the site director. We really gotta revoke his access. Well, we should go over some basic information about myself. I have worked with the Foundation for 10 years. I am of Class B. I am allowed to work with some anomalies, and I am deemed important enough than most dangerous ones. Well, I'm allowed near them. And I'm sure at least one of you have heard of the Class D. We don't talk about them much if you're a morally righteous person. Some would consider what we do with them unethical. The rest of you consider them essential to our operations. Yes, we do use civilians and political prisoners sometimes, but that's only when we use Protocol 12. So all the rumors you've been hearing about us kidnapping people off the street are mostly false. Now, we're going to start off today by giving you some very basic information. Some SCPs that go your level. Now, before we start, does anyone have any questions? Yes, you in the front. No, there's no such thing as the O5 Council. I don't know where you've heard this rumor from, but I recommend you head to medical for anesthetics immediately after this. And whoever you told that to, tell the site director and we will deal with it appropriately. Now, the ones of you of a high enough level to search for some of our SCP's containment. You may wonder why SCP-048 is listed with no object class and has no actual SCP attached. Well, I'll tell you. Special Containment Procedures. The designation SCP-048 is to be retired from the SCP catalog. No future SCPs are to be assigned this number. Yes, I've not seen that number used on anything in a very long time. Description. SCP-048 has long been considered the cursed SCP number by SCP staff. Any items given this designation tend to be destroyed, decommissioned, stolen, or otherwise lost to the Foundation, usually through no fault of any individual person. In addition, personnel assigned to SCP-048 in its various incarnations have had a 50% higher rate of turnover due to death, dismemberment, and disciplinary action. Now, speaking of disciplinary action, any of you have heard rumors of this O5 Council, and don't report for anesthetics. Sorry, folks. I'm sure you've all heard about our little memory wiping things. That's what the D class get. All of them. They can't remember much. All they know is that they woke up in their cell and they were told to follow the orders or get shot, and they could leave after 30 days. I can't recall the last time that a D class has actually been released, much less made it to 30 days in this facility. Whether or not the number 048 does actually have any supernatural qualities is unknown, but given the superstition around the number, the designation has been removed from the catalog in order to help maintain employee morale. This is ridiculous. I'll prove you superstitious. Let's see, we have some expunged data here to this doctor using some foul language in a article. The child is being, and then some more redacted data. The restriction on SCP-048 is now removed and assigned to data expunge, and this was made by Dr. Cortez. I haven't heard from Dr. Cortez in a while. SCP-048, data expunge, was actually thrown into the trash can this morning and lost in an unrelated incident. Dr. Cortez's arms were accidentally traumatically amputated in a horrific lunchroom blender accident. SCP-48 closed. By, nobody you should be concerned about. Addendum 3. SCP-048 has once again been removed from the archives as it has become highly apparent that no such vampire boat had ever existed, which was come under Foundation control. It is currently believed that this error occurred when a low-level researcher attempted to save his awesome story idea to his hard drive and instead overwrote the blank slot reserved for SCP-048. Said researcher has been removed from any and all archival duties for the time being. So, that's why we don't use SCP-048 anymore. I can't actually remember what was the original item we had with that. It was very early in my career when they first added that number. Whatever it was, it's long gone, I can tell you that much. Anomalous numbers, that might be very well what this is. The Foundation is a strange place, people. Strange indeed. So, that was a little explanation on why we don't use 048 as an SCP number anymore. Let's move on to someone I believe should have been terminated personally, but I don't get a say in things like it. Item SCP-096, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-096 to be contained in its cell, a 5 by 5 by 5 meter airtight steel cube at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes are mandatory. There will be absolutely no video, surveillance, or optic tools at any time inside SCP-096's cell. Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure height sensors and laser detectors to ensure SCP-096 is present inside the cells. Any and all photos, videos, or recordings of SCP-096's likeness are strictly prohibited without approval from Dr. Redacted. Yes, I'm not a high enough clearance level myself to know of this doctor. I don't believe that I've actually met anybody who works on 096's containment. Although I did meet the MTF commander one time, that poor man. That, never mind, I'll explain in a minute. Description. SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. Subject shows very little muscle mass, with analysis of body suggesting mild nutrition. Arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of its body, and an approximate width of 1.5 meters each. Skin is devoid of pigmentation and no sign of body hair. SCP-096's jaw can open up to 4 times of the norm of the average human. Other facial features remain similar to an average human, with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. It is not yet known whether SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no sign of higher brain functions and is not considered to be sapient. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with pressure sensors inside its cell indicating it spends most of the day pacing Eastern Wall. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it's directly, video recording, or even a photograph, it will enter the stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who will now from this point on be referred to as SCP-0961. So, for all of you that didn't understand that, if you see this thing's face, you are no longer Foundation staff. You are an SCP, designated SCP-0961. Let me give you some advice. Don't look at that thing's face. Even if it's between not looking at that 1/7 grade thing I'm sure you all heard of. That thing that will kill you if you don't look at it. It gets closer and closer till it snaps your neck. Believe me, that's a better way to go than looking at 096's face. Because you might get away for a little bit, so he will get you. And probably anybody you're with too. Documented speeds have varied from 35 kilometers an hour to redacted kilometers an hour, and it seems to depend on the distance from SCP-0961. At this point, no known material or method can impede SCP-096's progress. The actual position of SCP-0961 does not seem to affect SCP-096's response. It seems to have an innate sense of where SCP-096's location. Note: distraction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. Now there is a couple of documents attached with this file. I will be reading now document 0961. Now, as I've read this article a few times, before I read it, I will give you all a basic breakdown. The basic idea was to see what would happen if you had an artist, very good D-class artist in fact, take a picture of 096, his face, who would then kill the D-class when he got to him, obviously. He would see, well, what happens when they look at an artistic depiction. So either the Foundation loses 1 D-class and gets new information, or they lose 2 D-class and gets new information. So, let's go ahead and read this article. Experiment 0961 is headed by Dr. Dan. Purpose to test 096's ability while obtaining a complete physical description of SCP-096. D9031 is a 32-year-old convicted felon and former tattoo artist. D9031 is placed inside the bathysphere. I have not heard of this project outside of this file, so I don't know what else we've used it for. And yes, there are several aquatic SCPs. Yes, there are some in the oceans. Yes, you may have seen one, but that was probably not one. No, you in the back, that was probably not one of our SCPs. Ghost Shark. No, that's not our thing. That's the Shark Punching Center's thing. I'm not authorized to tell you anything about them. I'm sure if you ask somebody higher up than me, they might be able to arrange a meeting. We are on good terms with them. D9031 has uttered the following. It stopped. What now? Dr. Dan said. Do you feel fine? No sickness? Anything? D0931. My ears hurt. Dr. Dan. That should be expected. Now on your left should be a steel container. Open it and there will be a manila folder containing several photographs. Open it and describe the first photograph, please. D9031 complies. The camera is located, so the photograph cannot be seen. D9031 says, nothing. It's an empty cell. Dr. Dan, thank you. Please set this photograph place down in the receptacle to your right and look at the next photograph. D9031. It's the same cell, but there's a foot in it, I think. Dr. Dan, describe it, please. D9031. It's pale and bony. Sort of creepy, actually. Dr. Dan, place the photograph in the receptacle face down and look at the next one. D9031. Okay. He pauses and utters a redacted word. We do ask that anybody doing logs do not say any inappropriate words. Save our redactors some time. Dr. Dan, describe the photograph. D9031. It's, I don't know, some sort of creepy person. Dr. Dan, describe the photograph, please. He's pale, he has white eyes, and something's up with his mouth. What the heck is that thing? At this point, approximately 13:32 Standard Time, Dr. Dan and Experiment Control is notified that SCP-096 has breached containment. The fastest path to SCP-0961 has been cleared of civilians and other image capturing devices. SCP-096 now is being tracked by your satellites and a tracking column. Dr. Dan, on your right there should be another steel container. Open it. D. SCP-0961. See, I told you all. He's no longer Foundation property. Well, as he was before, he's no longer a D-Class. He's now nothing more than just another SCP, who shall be soon terminated as 096. Dr. Dan, on your right, there should be another steel container. Open it. D09. SCP-0961. I'm sorry, folks, I am used to saying his D-Class number. But, again, he's no longer a D-Class. It's a pad and a paper and a pencil. What the heck am I supposed to do with this? Dr. Dan. Yes. Please draw a sketch of that creature that you just saw. Its face, any details you get in on, and please make it quick if you can. SCP-0961 mumbles an expletive and spends the next 20 minutes drawing a sketch of the photograph. At the time of completion, SCP-0961 is confirmed to be redacted kilometers away from SCP-0961. SCP-0961. I'm done. Dr. Dan. Good. Now, there's a receptacle on your left. Take the drawing, place it in there, close the door. SCP-0961 complies and the sketch leaves bathysphere Cree A in the watertight buoyancy container. The other photographs were then incinerated on the onboard incinerator. SCP-0961. I'm done. What do I do now? Come on, dog, get me out of this thing. It's horrible being here already, and I have to say that darn thing. Just get me out of here. Yes, my good sir. Please, just wait. Stand by. We're sending somebody down to get you. They should be there in a few minutes. 40 minutes passes. SCP-096 is agitated that nobody has come to retrieve him yet. SCP-096 is now confirmed to be SCP-096's position in the diving transponder signal ends at 9,339 meters. This pressure goes beyond the device's operational limits. The camera shows the biosphere shaking slightly from SCP-096's one direction. It is assumed that SCP-096 in the hall is invisible through the airport. SCP-096 screams several expletives and screams, "What is that?" Video and audio feed is cut, as well as the whole of bathysphere. Grill 8 is breached. SCP-096 is recovered by surface. Recovered taking shot Grill 3 without incident. Sketch of SCP-096 is also recovered, and a quick test confirms no hostile reaction. Sketch is sent to experiment control in New Zealand by SCP-096 is moved to permanent containment. And before any of you ask, no, you cannot look at the sketch. Believe me, you wouldn't want to. I've seen it. It is as bad as you would imagine. Now, we actually have an audio log. Well, the transcript from one. Apparently, I'm not high enough clearance level to get the actual audio, but they were kind enough to provide me with a transcript audio log. Who is they, you may ask? Well, that's none of your concern. Until you get to a higher rank. All will be explained then. Begin log. This is an interview with Captain RET Redacted, former commander of Retrieval Team Zulu 9A. The interviewer is Dr. Redacted. Captain, it's always horrible to get initial retrieval duty. You have no idea what that thing is capable of. And besides, what information they should bother to tell us, the field techs, they can just scrape up. You're lucky if they even tell you the whole story. They told us a bag and tag. They didn't tell us not looking at it. They didn't tell us what they'd do. Doctor, could you please describe the mission, please? Captain Redacted. Yeah, sorry. We had two chompers, one on my team, and one on backup with Zulu 9B and Dr. Redacted. We spotted the target 2 clicks north of our patrol path. I'm guessing it wasn't facing rejection, else he would have taken us out there and then. Dr. Redacted. Your report says SCP-096 didn't redact to the code. It was negative redacted degrees. Captain Redacted. Actually, it was negative redacted. And yes, it was butt naked and didn't so much as shiver. Anyway, we landed and approached the target, and Corporal Redacted got ready to back it. That's when Dr. Redacted called me. I turned to answer it. That's what saved me. The target must have turned around and saw my own squad. Every one of them. He saw all of them. They saw him. All except me. Dr. Redacted. That's when SCP-096 entered an agitated emotional state? Captain. Yep. The interview now pauses for a brief second for continuing. Sorry, I got the wheelies there for a second. Just thinking about that thing again. Can't stand even the thought of it. Dr. Redacted. That's alright, I can understand. Captain Redacted. Yeah, well, I never saw its face. My squad did, and they paid for it. They paid for it with their lives. Dr. Redacted. Could you describe it a little more, please? Captain Redacted. Pauses. Yeah, like it started screaming at us and crying. Not animal roaring. That would sound like exactly like a person. Really creepy. Pauses again. We started firing when it picked up Corporal Redacted and ripped off his leg. God, he was screaming out for our help. Anyway, we were blowing chunks of the target round after round. Didn't do anything. Almost lost it when he started. Data expunged him. Now, before you ask, no, I do not know what that data is expunged. Only the highest of the highest. You know what that even means. And I don't believe that you will be making it there. No, that's not correct. That's just a statement. Dr. Redacted. And that's when you ordered the use of a AT4 HEDT launcher. Captain, an AT tape gun. Started carrying it ever since SCP Redacted got loose. They don't see those things tear through tanks like tissue paper. Did the same thing to the target. Dr. Redacted. There was significant damage to SCP-096. Captain Redacted. It didn't even flinch. It kept tearing apart my whole skull. But with half its torso gone. He draws a large half circle across his torso. Dr. Redacted. But it was taking damage. Captain. If it wasn't acknowledging it. Or showing it. It must have lost all its organs and all its blood, but didn't acknowledge any of it. Its bone structure wasn't hurt at all, though it kept tearing my squad apart. Killed men after men after men. Woman. It killed everybody. Except me. Dr. Redacted. So no actual structural damage? How many rounds would you say were fired at SCP-096? Captain Redacted. At least, I don't know, 1,000 or so? Our door gunner kept his GAU 19 on for at least 20 seconds. 20 seconds. That's 650 caliber rounds. Pumped into the thing. Might as well have been spitting at it. Dr. Redacted. This is when Zulu 9B arrived, correct? Captain Redacted. Yeah, my whole squad was gone. Zulu 9B managed to get here the bag over its head, and it just sat down. Like nothing was wrong, nothing was up. Like we didn't even shoot a single bullet at it. We got into the chopper. We got here. I don't know how I never saw its face. Maybe God or Buddha. Whoever thought I should live. I don't care who it was. I shouldn't have lived through that. Dr. Redacted. We have attained an artist's depictions of SCP-096's face. Would you like to view it? Dr. Redacted pauses. You know what? After hearing that thing screams, and the screams of my men, I don't think I want to put a face to what I just heard. No, just no. Dr. Redacted. Alright, I believe we're done here. Thank you, Captain. Chairs are heard leaving, footsteps leaving the room. Dr. Redacted remains at the table, while Captain Redact leaves the intermeeting room 21. Dr. Redacted. Let this be on record. I am formally requesting that SCP-096 be terminated as soon as possible. In log. Now, this is just an example of what happens when a large number of people sees his face. Now, I'm sure at least one of you is wondering, what happens when civilian population sees it? I'll tell you. This is Incident 096-1A. Begin log. A large steel cube is shown in the middle of a research lab, which is teeming with a dozen or so researchers. In the view of a camera control booth, displayed readings from the various sensors inside the cube. Fast forward 1 minute 32 seconds. The control booth operation leans forward, alert to the various readings in the sensors. Approximately 5 seconds later, a steel wall containing the cube receives a sizable dent, bending outwards. The dent gets larger and larger before breaking. SCP-096 is seen bending the steel cube away, frantically trying to escape. Emergency plates drop down into the cube as a containment breach alarm is sounded. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, what's a containment breach, Dr. Packrat? Well, it's one of those things we have locked up. Isn't locked up. And it's out. I've been through at least 2. I was lucky just 5 each one. And hopefully, there's no more before I get to retire. The Foundation has a surprisingly lenient schedule for retiring. You won't remember a day at your time working at the Foundation, though. So they won't trust you with all that information on the anomalies contained in this facility. Security tape has 096 face blurred out per containment protocol. 2 seconds later, team security team ensuring as SCP-096 breaks open containment. Light rounds and tranquilizer darts are fired to no visible effect. Approximately 90% of researchers and security personnel have directly viewed SCP-096 face, and a code Lima is declared. The rooms and surrounding areas are sealed off and flushed with the redacted class nerve agent. Approximately 2 minutes later, SCP-096 breaches the research site, redacted, and travels redacted kilometers an hour. We lost a lot of good men that day. It's the only thing we could do. Knock everybody out so they wouldn't feel the thing. If they were lucky enough to not see its face, well, hopefully nothing else killed them. Echo Romeo was assigned with immediate containment breach. We then realized just how big this breach was we were dealing with. We were so completely overwhelmed. Funny how even the brightest minds can be so unprepared. So, you're not saying it's your own fault? Absolutely not. This was a new discovery in SCP-096's behavior. We are lucky that it did not turn into an XK. Just about did. We lost so many people that day. Begin log. Helm cam footage from ER1. Footage from inside a UH-60 shows that SCP-096 on the desert floor, moving at considerable speed. ERA1. This is Echo Romeo Actual. We have a visual of the target, unintelligible, at data expunged. Not and increasing. ERA listens to the radio and orders to find is coming from Dr. Dan. Identified. Sorry about that. Already late. SCP-096 can be seen slowly gaining speed. ERA motions off the camera. ERA appears holding a modified XM500 anti-material rifle. 2 shots are fired. The first shot misses, and the second shot hits SCP-096 in the lower leg. SCP-096 stumbles, but recovers. Speed change is insignificant. ERA unintelligible. Heat has no effect on target. ERA motions to ERA. Motions to ER3. Again, ER3 fires 3 more shots. The first 2 misses, the third one hits SCP-096 in the head. SCP-096 falls, skids, and rolls several times, reducing speed minimally. SCP-096 rose to its feet and continues unabated. Camera pans up to see 8 V-22 Ospreys belonging to MTF Taiwan. Flying overhead past the helicopter, same outbound vector as SCP-096. Camera cuts. In log. Begin log. Video interview log. SCP-096-1A. Dr. Redacted. I actually don't know this fella here. And yes, I know that some people may know his name, but it's been redacted for me personally. I'm not sure why, but the Foundation works in mysterious ways, everybody. Dr. Redacted appears very calm, determined, and answers all questions slowly and deliberately. Interviewer: where were you exactly at the time of the breach? Dr. Redacted: on break. Get a cup of coffee. Yes, pure luck I was at the time they came to the area. Interviewer. Describe your actions directly after containment breach. Dr. Dacton. I sent Echo Romeo after SCP-096, alerted Dr. Dane to the situation, with them set upon the task of locating 096 Once the general direction of SCP-096 was determined, I sent MTF Tie 1 ahead to evacuate civilian population centers in SCP-096, all according to containment protocol. End log. Begin log. Video interview log. SCP-096 1 May. Dr. Daniel, quotation marks, Dan, redacted, sits patiently on the table in front of him. Looks to be a modified pair of night vision goggles. Interviewer. For the record, where were you exactly during SCP-096 containment breach? Dr. Daniel. In the data expunge matter rooms, trying to find some more information on SCP-096's origins. It was a quick research expedition, so I left Dr. Redacted in charge of containment. He's confident enough, if a bit eager, and he is provoked. Sorry, I misread that. Proved himself in the past. This is all confirmed by the various related paperwork, so don't go thinking, interviewer. It was just for the record, Doctor. Now, knowing that SCP-096 is immune to all forms of damage while in a rage state, why would you order the sniper attacks from the emergency response team, Dr. Dan? Why not? There was no chance to slow down. If there was a chance, even a slightest chance, to slow down 096 and give NTF Tahoe, TA1 more time, then we had to try. They put ER in no danger. The choppers were in danger and outrun anyway. Honestly, ER can do little else than help the harm situation. Interviewer motions the goggles laying on the table. I see. Now, Dr. Dan, how could you explain these things you've created here? Dr. Dan. Yes, that was part of Project Scramble. An eyepiece was assigned to ER and MTF TAU-1, designed by Dr. Adaptive and myself. For SCP-096, it carries a small microprocessor which constantly analyzes the viewer for facial features of SCP-096. Facial recognition software inside the instantly identifies them, scrambling the image into unrecognizable pixels. It's quite ingenious, really, interviewer, and expensive. Dr. Dan, very, which is lots of such saying good work in log. So, sure me you're wondering, it didn't work? No. No, it did not work. Not in the slightest. I didn't expect it to work. I knew that there was nothing that could actually help us in that situation. 096 couldn't be stopped that easily. Well, there is an easier method. A bag. Put a bag on its head. If it gets out, it shows one person that it sees, and that's it. But no, they wanted their fancy technology. I'm sorry, I'm going a little bit of a rant here. Let's continue the log, why don't we? Audio transcript from MTF Tie 1 and modified EG Recent Trees. AWACS. Call sign, quotation marks, Big Brother, MTF T1. Ospreys in the air, moving, data expunge, at data expunge, waiting vector, Big Brother. Electronics online, cruising out to reach. Upon uploading Project Scramble to all camera systems, cameras online. Big Brother is now watching, MTF T1. What outbound vector is the target currently heading to? Big Brother. Target is currently westbound, traveling on. Oh. Yeah, he's on the I-40. I think he just flipped us in the outbound vectors. Data expunge. Degrees about data expunge. Next town is Let's see, it's data expunged. I'd say a couple 100 kilometers. MTF, we're suggesting Echo Romeo begin evacuating I-40. I don't know how many cars targets are at. MTF, T1. Hold one. That's a negative, Big Brother. AR's reporting the target's outrunning her choppers. They can't get ahead of him, Big Brother. They're gonna get them to stop the motors on the other lane. I don't know how many people have seen this thing's face in log. That was a scary day, from what I've heard. I know about Project Scramble and all that, because of my ranking on the Foundation. I was lucky not being in that facility that day. The first three elements of TAU was seating gathering the town folks in the first three towns without incident. SCP-0961 was confirmed to be not in any of these towns. When SCP-096 ran through the town, each in turn without stopping, however, video log of MTF TAU shows SCP-0961 being identified in the town of data expunged and ensuing incident. Show it. Begin log. Film cam footage from Element 4 MTF TAU in the town of data expunged. Most of the townspeople were gathered in the square, all blindfolded. Helicopters swept the town. Distant orders are heard over loudspeakers from both helicopters and ground personnel. MTFT-1 over TAU comm radio loudspeakers. The target is entering proximity. All units activate the scramble gear and begin crowd control procedures. All civilians are not to move from their spot or move their blindfold. If you move or touch your blindfold, you will be shot. I repeat, all civilians are ordered to carry out by loud screeching coming from outside the camera's views. Yes, I've heard that shriek personally. It's terrifying. Approximately 2 kilometers away, SCP-096 is seen to be coming over the crest of the hills. It tries to slow down in the descent, but trips, tumbles down at high speeds, crashing for several passes forward, hurt its foot, almost out delay. Unknown voice over loudspeaker. Unintelligible. Civilians are not to move. You will be shot. Unintelligible. Several shots are heard, none of which are directed at SCP-096. SCP-096 stops for 1 second before running to the crowd of townfolk. Runs many aside, trampling more before more shots can be heard. The crowd begins dispersing. The loudspeaker and intelligible into the vocalizations of SCP-096. SCP-096 locates SCP-0961, a middle-aged man, in the hero views. Him grabbing SCP-0961 is grabbed by SCP-096. He was then SCP-096 was then hit by a fleeing town person. The camera recording SCP-096 was then knocked over by another fleeing town person. And those civilians, they messed up our operations there. We were trying to help them, but what were we going to do? Everybody was panicking. We'd never had an incident like that before. We had the plans for it. We didn't know how it was going to go, though. Begin log. Video interview log 0961C. Major Jack Wilford. Current commander of MTF TAU-1. I was looking for SCP-0961 House of my squad. Poor guy was a semi-pro manager, took a trip up to the redacted. Apparently he took a snapshot of the landscape and just happened to catch SCP-096 in the background. Wilford holds up 4 fingers to emphasize 4 pixels. 4 pixels. I doubt the guy even knew what he saw. It was probably just looking at the picture one day, noticed an off-color patch of snow, and went on with his day. Interviewer: how did you find it? Wilford: our scramble gear picked it up right away. The lieutenant got the picture and took it down to the chopper before I even got to see it. By then, the monster attacking down Big Brother and peeled open the former Major's hatchery. Everything was falling apart. Interviewer: so the scramble gear was ineffective? Ineffective? The scramble were pieces of crap that had killed the whole task force. You know the only 3 people alive besides me? 3 people out of that entire squad of NTF. We started out that mission with way more people, and we're down to 4. Because some egghead thought it was state-of-the-art countermeasure to SCP-096's hostile reaction. Those idiots could have put a bag over the truck 10 minutes do with it, but no, we use state-of-the-art scramble technology. In log. See, I do agree with Mr. Jack Wilford. And in the log, there is currently a picture. That picture, circled in yellow, are the 4 pixels of SCP-096. Pixels have been censored, so you cannot see his face. I will project an image of this, so I can show you all how little it takes to set this thing off. Dr. Dane. What do you call me? Dr. Dane pushes back from the table and says, I'll show him what an egghead is after I bash open his interviewee begins start cursing and shouting. 2 guards enter the room and push Dr. Dane back on the seat. Dr. Dane, do we need to administer a sedative, Doctor? Dr. Dane takes a breath and smooths the coat. No, I apologize. Sighs. Scramble was really an ingenious idea. However, it was a failure because we fully did not understand how SCP-096 worked. You see, as the chip inside of the scramble picked up SCP-096's facial features and began scrambling them, there was a split second of linear light flow to the retina. Computers are fast, not as fast as light. So there was a split second of SCP-096's direct face up to the brain. It wasn't even consciously received, but apparently is enough to trigger the hostile reaction in SCP-096. Interviewer. So, with the report of the photograph, Dr. Dane, that's the most disturbing part of the whole incident. You know when the former SCP-096 went on his mound trip in 1990 redacted? That's redacted years of that photo here before he saw SCP-096. This brings us need to be aware that is viewing SCP-096's face trigger reaction. There can be ticking time bombs hidden literally everywhere in the world. How many photographs are out there before we contain him? It, whatever you want to call that thing. Just going unnoticed, waiting for a careful eye. As I said before, I'm with the same terminated. Now. In log. Just a quick question, Doctor. What exactly were you planning on doing there? Major Jack Wilford was top-notch, SBS. Only recruited him. I was also a recon enforcement, sir, and deployed in comp cases. Marines beat SBS. No, they don't. Enough, both of you. Moving on. Begin log. Video log 0961D. Chief Master Sergeant Redacted Door Gunner and Draco Romeo. I got the bag over its head. Interrogator. Yes, you've told me that. Could you tell me exactly what transpired? It was just with all. I'm sorry, Doctor. It was just sitting there in the highway. He got done ripping open a minivan. Interviewee silent. Interviewer. And redacted. I'm whistling to the chopper. I got out, bandit. I put the bag over his head. It got calm, and they took it. Interviewer. So the victims of the minivan were the last to view SCP-096's face. Interviewee silent. Interviewee. Redacted. Interviewee remained silent for the remainder of the interview was released. He was later found in his bunker and having committed suicide via hanging with a matching rope. Effing crushed pacifier was later found in his fist. You know, I don't feel bad for most of the MTF. It's their job, and they know how to get it too. I feel bad for this one. But he's sadly just another one of them. Begin log. Video log SCP-0961D. Compensated tape from news broadcast. CNN. The image shows first responders surrounding the remains of a crash plane over the shoulder of a field reporter. The plane, which seems to be military in origin, has no hours marking designated as a U.S. military plane. While first responders looked for a black box recording, it was stopped by the police that the plane crashed to a massive breach in the cabin, both the cockpit and village. The reporter comes in motions to a large hole inside the plane, which several firefighters are crawling inside of. Paramedics had only found 3 bodies, which is fairly odd for a plane of this size, requiring a crew around 20 men. Police have suggested the recorder is cut off, as 3 super stallions are shown hovering overhead, 2 of which land gun and loading troops belonging to MTS. Shut off the camera! Shut off the redacted. End log. Begin log. Dr. Redacted. So are we finished here? Interviewer. One last question, good doctor, or statement as it seems. We find it interesting that there was no break room at research site redacted or copy, and there never has been. Do you have any comment on this? Interviewer in silence. Interviewer. We think it'd be very best if you began talking immediately. Remainder of VL. Log SCP-0961-A is redacted. In log. I don't see what that has to do with me. There's no reason to play dumb, Doctor. You told us everything. Well then, I guess it's no use. Fine. Anything is there. Audio recording from... I think I can tell you all about this one. 05 hearing. 051, upon reading your testimony and available footage and the confession of your late Dr. Dack, is unanimous agreement of 05 that you'll be terminated for your part in the gross breach of SCP-096. Dr. Dan, and I thought you would know the meaning for the greater good. 051. Do not try my patience, Doctor. Estimate scope and potential the 05 have approved of your request for the termination of SCP-096. Given the lack of personnel with an understanding of SCP-096, the termination will be entrusted to you under heavy guard, the personal supervision of me, and your own termination will be scheduled to a later date. In law. That's horrible, Doctor. How could you know me? It worked. There was only a matter of time until that happened in a major population center, and its face spread over the world news. I can kill SCP-096, but I've killed myself in the process. Everybody report to medical for low gradients. Static tank for a little bit of that magical weapon later. Now you need to read that last log. So, that was the Shy Guy, SCP-096. Now, we do have one last SCP I'd like to fill y'all in on. Okay. Well, I don't know if you'd call it. It's not really a singular one. And we'll be on more of that in our next interview. Who here has heard of Marshall, Carter, and Dark? Yes, it appears some of you have. For the ones of you who haven't, they are anomalous, pretty much like ourselves. Instead of seeking to contain the anomalies, they seek to make a profit off of them. Makes me sick knowing that they'll be willing to give this stuff to pretty much anybody. I've heard they have somewhat of a background check on who they give it to, but as long as they make their money, they don't care. They're business at the end of the day. So, this is SCP-102. Item SCP-102. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-102 is currently being held in possession of Marshall, Carter, and Dark. Because ownership appears to be binding. Deed-based legal agreement, independent of eminent domain. SCP-102 cannot be transferred to the Foundation control in the foreseeable future. Description: SCP-102 is a pair of standalone beach houses located at redacted, currently owned by Marshall, Carter, and Dark, Ltd. Through the use of a dummy corporation known as Geyser Housing Associated, and rendered to Marshall, Carter, and Dark members as a vacation home for those with a discerning taste in the adventures of a privileged life. The two similar properties are, though, dated expunged. SCP-1021 is the house on the left, number redacted. Well, the person's whose name is not on the lease if you don't own it or have your name on the lease. Well, enters the building. Its interior appears that of a crumbling empty house, with the prone body of the current leaseholder just inside the doorway. The house is occupied. Forensic tests on the material recovered from within the house have shown it to be abandoned since lid sorry everybody, I have not had my coffee this morning. Mid to late 70s. All photographs taken within SCP-1021 corroborate this. Regardless of the lease status, the photographer, however, when taking the leaseholder, enters the front door, they find themselves in a fairly normal and well-kept beach house, decorated with a nautical theme. Often they report a sensation of dizziness upon entering, which fades within a few seconds. When the leaseholder leaves the building, they become what is, to all intents and purposes, an incorporeal spirit manifestation capable of willful misbeauty, moving through solid objects and figurative things, and remain in this state each time they leave the house for the duration of the lease. At the conclusion of their lease, or any time they willfully break the terms of said lease, they fall briefly unconscious and awaken on the floor of the front entrance of SCP-1021, which appears to them as it does to any non-leaseholder. No bodies have been being removed from the house prematurely. SCP-1022 is the house on the right, number redacted. At a glance, the effect of SCP-1022 is identical to SCP-1021. However, data expunged, advanced decay, followed by data expunged. Leaseholders of SCP-1022 do not exit the building promptly at the cessation of their contract are declared missing, presumed dead 30 days after the end of their lease. The leaseholders do not exit the building, are administered by a regimen of steroid-based enhancers to counter that data expunged, constantly for signs of physical aberration. Addendum. All this information report verified the details are consistent with multiple sources. The content of this report was taken from interviews with Class D personnel's 107069 death sentence for murder and data expunged. 103 654 without parole, activated, redacted, on a redacted, and 706 death sentence, redacted. All who were frequent tenants of SCP-1021 prior to incarceration. It is theorized that D-1033-654 made use of SCP-1021's effects to commit data expunged. See interview log 102-23 for full transcript. Sadly, I do not have access to that log. Well, I think that's everything for today. Remember, everybody reports medical, so we can forget about that little old 5 talk. They found not reporting to medical should receive a low level anesthetics. Well, you might not be hurting again. If you are, you might be wearing an orange jumper with Class D on the back. I think that's all the time we have today. Thank you, everybody, for attending this briefing. Welcome to the Foundation. Good luck. I will see you all tomorrow. And I have been Dr. Packrat. Good day, everyone.